Hey guys, your humble host. So real quick, I wanted to make a small PSA. As we have all experienced over the years, YouTube has made drastic changes to its layout, policies, the way that you can customize your channels, how you become monetized, etc. Now, me personally, I am not monetized. I've thought about it in the past, but because I do not pump out enough content and I don't always have time to, I'm not going to really bother with it. However, there are various YouTube channels that I watch that have been affected by the changes in this system. And the most recent one is by the name of MrRepzion. Forgive me if I pronounced that wrong. But recently he's had a lot of his videos demonetized, videos that go all the way up to 4 years old, and he got his ad revenue taken away because they weren't advertiser friendly. And I went through his comment section and somebody had posted the link to the guidelines, as you can see here, and I have read through these and I gotta say I'm a little bit confused. They sound a little bit contradicting and a little bit, once again, too broad, just like their harassment policy, which came across vague and confusing for everybody because that was going around and various people were making YouTube videos of that as well. So I don't know if that policy has been officially put into effect and if they're starting to crack down on what they consider harassment. But once again, it's another confusing policy that YouTube has no specifications on. It's just too broad and way across the board. So let's read and see what it says. Advertiser-friendly content guidelines. Advertiser-friendly content is content that is appropriate for all ages. And I'm to assume that includes children too, even though that you have to be 13 years old, I believe, just to have an account on YouTube. It has little to no inappropriate or mature content in the video stream, thumbnail, or metadata such as in the video title. If the video does not contain inappropriate content, the context is usually newsworthy or comedic, and the creator's intent is to inform or entertain, not offend or shock. Okay, sorry, I misread that wrong. The video does contain. Okay, so just from reading that alone, it sounds like they want to add more to a younger audience, children, and I'm not entirely sure why, because I know a lot of the YouTube creators on here, their content is not child-friendly, or is not considered child-friendly. And I know that this just doesn't affect the commentators, it doesn't just affect them, it affects the gamers, it'll affect musicians, it'll affect even artists. I've seen a couple of artists that are monetized that they draw some iffy stuff and that wouldn't fall in line with these guidelines, and so this affects a lot of people, and from what I read, they're not going to go into what they consider sexually suggestive. I mean, there's mentions of partial nudity, as you can see down here. We'll get to that in a second. Content that may be acceptable for YouTube under YouTube policies may not be appropriate for Google advertising. Google's program policies provide additional guidelines for what can be monetized, and advertisers also have their own standards and requirements for content. So pretty much what that is saying is, even though you may be following YouTube's policy of having your videos monetized, because they now go through Google apparently, Google's going to tack on more policies and requirements, and if you don't meet those, but you meet YouTube's policies, your video still doesn't get monetized. And then there's mention of whatever network or advertisers, what they choose to advertise on top of, what videos to advertise with. So there's that too, and it just sounds like, from this policy, it just sounds like it's freaking ridiculous to try to break in. Say if I wanted to get monetized, say if I actually wanted to start making money off of my videos, it'd be really, really hard because I have to go through 3 different sources, or rather 3 different groups, I'm going to call them. I have to go through YouTube. If YouTube says okay, but Google and the advertiser doesn't, then no money for me. So the system's becoming harder and harder and harder to get into and to introduce new YouTubers. Now, something I have noticed about YouTube is they are becoming a bit more PC, politically correct, and they're starting to move in, and they have been moving in bigger names from Hollywood, the music industry, cartoon producers, and the like. So it really has put a clamp and created a cramped space for original content creators. And I feel like this is just that clamp just squeezing ever so more tight, trying to wiggle more people out, which I think is total crap. Let's see. Content that's considered inappropriate for advertising. Content that's considered not advertiser friendly includes, but is not limited to, sexually suggestive content, including partial nudity and sexual humor. So, going back to the top, which says, if the video does contain inappropriate content, the context is usually newsworthy or comedic, and the creator's intent is to inform or entertain, not to offend or shock. So, right away, you can see how these two contradict each other, because there is a lot of sexually suggestive humor on YouTube. So, are you guys going to allow it to stay monetized if it is, if it's funny? I mean, here's the thing, because there's so many questions. Once again, this is too vague. What will YouTube or Google Advertisement consider as funny when it comes to sexual context? And I know some of it can be downright crass and vulgar, so there's that, but a lot of it is funny. Granted, I don't watch too much of it, but I'm just giving a general observation. A lot of it is funny, and the commentators I watch, they do use sexually suggestive content in a comedic way, but what will Google find comedic, and what won't it? You see what I'm saying? What's the definition for them for funny? Violence, including display of serious injury or events related to violent extremism. Okay, so this is going to affect, I believe, the gamer part of YouTube, the Let's Players, because there's a lot of violent video games that get streamed here on YouTube during Let's Plays. So are they going to lose their monetization too if they're monetized because of the violent video games that they do Let's Plays with? I mean, so this is getting ridiculous. I understand that they have boundaries and they're a professional company and whatnot, but at the same time, there is so much content on YouTube, and instead of trying to filter like all of it, a section for a more broader audience, sensitive audience, should be created within YouTube, not trying to filter like everybody, because this isn't going to work. If anything, this is going to kill YouTube or make it less popular, and it's going to cause a mass migration. MrRepzion already threatened to leave if he can't get his ad revenue back for his videos, and there's quite a few videos that got their ad taken away, and he did say that if more were to disappear, their ad revenue to disappear, he was leaving YouTube. And I feel like he's not going to be the only one. Let's see. Inappropriate language, including harassment, profanity, and vulgar language. So, just about every channel that I have been subscribed to, minus the cooking channels or the crafting channels, swears or has some profanity on it or has some sort of vulgar language. Every freaking channel. And granted, you can't always you can't really control how people talk at all. You just can't. So pretty much this kills. If you guys are if YouTube is really wanting to enforce this, it's going to take a lot of people's ad revenue away, and it's going to make a lot of people mad. I mean, it really is. Promotion of drugs and regulated substances, including selling, use of abuse of such items. So I really don't see too much of this on YouTube. I mean, I really don't. At best, I've seen like promotions for marijuana, but that's about it. Controversial are sensitive subjects and events, including subjects related to war, politics, conflicts, natural disasters, and tragedies, even if graphic imagery is not shown. Okay, so this is the biggest one I have issues with. Because like in my video to a Nissan, I'm referencing it here, there's stuff I have learned about through YouTube that is not circulating the media, and it's important stuff. And what YouTube wants to do now is shut that all down, and that is complete and total garbage, and it's going to destroy a lot of YouTube channels, because all the channels that I really follow, minus the crafting and the cooking channels, and some drawing, but all the other channels I follow talk about what's going on in the world, and we need that. And what about the professional channels, like say John Oliver? John Oliver talks pretty much about everything. He's monetized, he has a YouTube channel, granted he's a comedian, but you guys get my point. Are they just going to enforce this on the original content creators, or are they going to enforce this on the professionals that have come in from Comedy Central, Hollywood, and things like that? So that's my concern there, but I think it's total garbage. They're trying to shut out all these topics, which is really important to discuss, and it's how people are getting their information around. Like I said, it's how I learn things. There's stuff I've learned on YouTube that I've not learned from the media going around. Granted, I don't watch much TV, but you get my point. If any of the above describes any portion of your video, then the video may not be approved for monetization. If monetization is approved, your video may not be eligible for all available ad formats. YouTube reserves the right to not monetize a video, as well as suspend monetization features on channels that repeatedly submit videos violating our policies. So, once again, we all know how broken YouTube's system is, and from what I hear, it is very hard to get in contact with an actual human being, and from what I also hear, is it takes quite a while for some people to get in contact with someone representing YouTube or with their network. Best practices for creating advertiser-friendly content. Remember, context is key, which I have a feeling this is just going to be another automated system that we're not actually going to have humans looking at all these videos. It's just going to be a system picking up phrases, and we understand that high quality content isn't always sanitized, especially when it comes to real world issues. If your video has graphic material in it, you can help make it advertiser friendly by providing context. So, if I can try to wrap my head around this, they don't want controversial topics talked about, even if it doesn't have graphic content in it, but if it has context, then it's okay. Once again, what do they consider context? What is their definition of context? Because anytime a video is provided with graphic nature, it's to inform the public of what's going on. It's to show, hey, we're experiencing this right now, so use these best practices to successfully monetize your content on YouTube. Do follow YouTube's policy guidelines. Do use a title and thumbnail for your video that represents the content. So pretty much they're trying to get rid of the clickbait stuff. That's understandable. Do create content that appeals to brand advertisers looking to engage with your content. This can increase the chances of finding an advertiser sponsor for your channel. So pretty much what they now want, if you want to monetize your videos, I mean, you have to appeal to the freaking brands now, which, why? That kind of defeats the entire purpose of YouTube. People don't make videos to advertise to the branded stations or to the brands that are already circulating around. We make videos to entertain, inform people, and just to do our own thing. Do you create content that appeals to brand advertisers looking to engage with your content? Why is it our job to advertise to the brand to pull more people into the YouTube, Isn't it YouTube's job to do that when they invited these brands to begin with? Do not use explicit language or imagery in your title or thumbnail. Well, everybody just about does that nowadays, so don't embed promotions for your own sponsors in your videos, since this can create advertiser conflict. Learn more about paid product placement policy. So I don't know too much about that one. Paid promotion from your own sponsors. So I guess if you're already sponsored by someone else that is not a network, that resides with YouTube or the Google advertising, and you're wanting to promote your sponsors, I guess that would create an issue with Google advertising. There's some more stuff. Hold on. How is content, let's see, approved for ads? YouTube uses technology and policy enforcement processes to determine if a video is suitable for advertising. A video's availability in restricted mode does not affect its ability to be monetized. Automatic checks. We have trained systems that automatically check features of a video, like the video title, metadata, and visual imagery, to decide how appropriate the video is for general advertising. So pretty much, as I predicted earlier, these are going to be freaking machines. It's going to be a system. It's not going to be human beings. The system's going to have certain words, certain images, certain phrases. It sounds like that's going to go off of to check all these videos. Great. Community flags. We depend on our user community to flag inappropriate videos for us for our review. Learn more about how to flag content. Okay, so the flagging system is already broken. Why would you want to make it worse? And at this point, about 95% of YouTube would get flagged, so that's monetized. Advertiser controls. Brand advertisers have tools in their campaign settings to control where their ads may appear on YouTube, including targeting and excluding by audience demographics, topics, category, and content appropriateness. If we receive a complaint from an advertiser whose ad served against your video, we reserve the right to disable monetization on your video if we determine that it did not meet our policy guidelines. So, pretty much that is what is saying is advertisers, I guess, can pick what videos, what demographics to either include or exclude, and if they do not like that their ad is near your video or on your video, and they do not like what you present in said video, then YouTube can take your money away. You know, what would be the point of the ads if... Isn't the point of ad just to get your stuff in there, just to get your company known? Why are they allowing the advertisers to be extremely picky? See, this only creates more of a mess for content creators, because now we have to fight with advertisers too. Or the people who are monetized have to fight with advertisers too. See, this, like I said, I was interested a while back in possibly getting my videos monetized, but I didn't pump out enough content, and I heard there was a lot of issues already. There was a podcast that I used to do imagery for, graphic design for, and they tried to get off the ground, and it didn't work, and the more I hear about this problem with the system, the less I want anything to do with it. And what makes me upset is there's so many people who have threatened to quit and leave and haven't done it yet, but the day that happens is gonna be really, really bad. And right now, YouTube is kind of lucky because there isn't another platform right now. There isn't another platform like YouTube for content creators to go that isn't as high quality, has a good variety, and I just feel that that's where YouTube takes advantage, because they know there's not another platform that can compete with them right now, so they keep just pushing that mark. Anyway, I'm sorry if this video was a little bit rambling, but I wanted to go over these. once again, I am not monetized, so I don't have as much experience with this as those that do. But I wanted to go over this and just let people know, hey, if you're monetized and if you have anything that is beyond a PG rating, then you are pretty much screwed. MrRepzion still has yet to hear back of any of his videos. He did resubmit them, so that situation so we kept an eye on. I'm going to put his video in the description. I'm going to put Suit Yourself's video in the description because that's where I learned that this was going on. But it just, is it me or is it these? It's a little contradicting. We don't want sexually offensive material or vulgarity or graphic violence in regards to controversial issues, war, politics, something like that. But if it has context or if it's for comedic and informative purposes, then it's okay. When would that stuff not be for informative purposes? Usually that stuff is, so... Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit groggy, it's a little bit late where I'm at, so... Anyway, pass this around, pass Suit's video around, pass MrRepzion's video around, and... I have yet to see, because once again, I'm not monetized, but I've yet to see anybody leave over this just yet. Over the past issues that have been presented with like the copyright strikes and things like that. This is something completely different. I feel like this is going to be way more problematic than the stupid copyright system that YouTube has in place, or their vague and overbroad harassment policy. So anyway, tell me what you guys think. Pass this around, please. Anybody who is monetized through YouTube or Google advertising and, like I said, has anything beyond a PG rating for any of their content is probably about ready to get their ad revenue taken away. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. This video has gone on long enough. Have a good night.